The phrase to finish out the season, 17s hold that line. The Five Stripes sitting in ninth still in the Eastern Conference, just 2 points separating 15th all the way down to our spot right now as we long slide into this one. It's rivalry week, and oh, it doesn't get any better than this. That's Jason Longshore, I'm Joe Fryhofer. This is your AT&T Countdown to Kickoff. Jason, let's begin. Carson, California, a 2-0 defeat for the Five Stripes that saw Brad Guzan once again standing on his head, making a big-time penalty save. Let's go to the positives here. A Johnny Fortune flexing his form once again this season.
Yeah, it was a good first 60 minutes for Atlanta United on the road against the best team in the West, and I think one of the big reasons for that was Jay Fortune. He played in a little bit higher role in that midfield trio to start, and he's a player who's comfortable there. We've seen him with Atlanta United too and with the academy with goals and assists in his bag. Almost had a couple of those in this one out in California, which would have made for a different match. Bartosz Szlich sat deeper than we've seen in the past few matches, which is where I think things will settle out once Alexei Miranchuk is ready to get starts for this group. But Jay Fortune has played so well as of late, he's going to be fighting to keep that spot in the lineup.
Tristan Muyumba still recovering off of a hip injury that saw Dax McCarty start in this one. And oh, by the way, coming into the midfield, getting some of his first minutes with the Five Stripes. Official threads he was wearing in that matchup was Alexei Miranchuk. You saw the technique, you saw the cerebral player that he is. And oh, by the way, his first shot ever in Five Stripes history hums off of crossbar as well. You can see the quality from the jump.
Yeah, what a quick turn and shot. I don't think anyone is expecting that one from Miranchuk. We talked to Jay Fortune about playing with Alexei this week, and Jay said it felt a little bit like a pickup game because they'd only had maybe 3-4 training sessions before that. So now you've had another week, and I think what Jay was talking about with the pickup game analogy is when you jump into a game with somebody you don't know, you're looking for things that you can either complement or play off of. And Alexei's such a good player that it's easy to find that. And we saw Fortune and Miranchuk finding those combinations around the top of the 18. So now you give another week of time for them to build that chemistry, build these little societies all over the field. And Miranchuk, as long as he's fit enough to play deeper into this, I think we'll see more of him in Charlotte.
With an army of 17s, the Kings of the South are now heading to Charlotte, sitting in 6th in the Eastern Conference in MLS right now. Second fewest goals conceded of any side in the Eastern Conference right now. Very rigid in that back line. And oh, by the way, they made a splash in that transfer market as well. Tim Ream making the Premier League jump from Fulham to Charlotte.
Yeah, you bring Ream back to MLS after starting with the Red Bulls. And a lot of people looked at that and said, this is a good defensive team. They've only given up 28 goals. Why is that your big splash? Now, they did have some other splashes, but Ream makes everybody better in that back line. Some young players in that back line that maybe in the short term might have to be on the bench a little bit more. But in the long term, their careers are going to advance from playing alongside and training alongside one of the best who's ever done it for the U.S. men's national team. Somebody who I think is just completely underappreciated for what he's given to the program. He's very good on the ball. He's very intelligent. He's a good organizer, a good leader. So that defense that was already good is going to be even better. And when you're Dean Smith, and that's how you want to start building a squad. Be strong defensively first. We'll find things going forward as we go. They're even better with that foundation now.
We look at the chessboard and start comparing pieces. Up top for Charlotte is Patrick Agyemang. Frame is 6'4", 7 goals so far in the Eastern Conference this season for them. He's a frame that I like to compare to an Isak over at Newcastle as well. Tough to defend, slippery, loves to turn on the dime. Stian Gregerson, Derek Williams, however we shape up in that back line, we're going to have to keep a keen eye on Agyemang.
He's a big fella, and they use him off the bench as well as starting sometimes. So sometimes it's a literal big change of pace when he comes into the match, and sometimes it's from the start and he wears you down because he's constantly looking for that ball over the top. And Charlotte, going back to the idea of being solid defensively, they're going to keep numbers behind the ball. They want to prevent you from getting that first goal. And if that means they have to trade off and be a little direct at times, they'll do that.
17s, it's time to storm Charlotte. Kickoff for this one is 7:30, as always, through the MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. 92.9 The Game, Jason Longshore, Mike Conti, they'll have your call.
You're going to hear a lot of 17s in the crowd on this call. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30. Five Stripes Countdown with Abe Gordon and Garrett Chapman from the studios back in Midtown Atlanta. And Mike Conti and I will take over just before kickoff at 7:40. You can also listen on the Odyssey app.
That's Jason Longshore. I'm Joe Fryhofer. This has been your AT&T Countdown to Kickoff. Charlotte, beyond the wash. The Kings of the South are coming to town.